The first phase is motor sensory phase. Baby aged 0 until 24th month. At this age, children begin to recognize objects based on their sense. In this period, the baby learns in family environment, especially the mother's activity, which greatly influence the child's development process. Babies start babbling at around 3 to 6 months, for example by saying ba, ma, or pa to attract the attention of parents and other people around him. The next stage is the pre-operational stage, children aged 2 until 7 years. At this stage, the child has begun to be able to develop knowledge about the meaning of objects and things around quickly. Also at this stage, children can develop their expression more than 2 words per sentence. Children begin to speak in word order and show an increased understanding of the complex clues regarding to the order in which the words are spoken. In this period, almost all educational guidance efforts took place in the family and the closest people. One of the factors that influence the development of early childhood reading is the willingness of parents to provide reading material and create an atmosphere conducive to the development of children's reading skill. The third stage is the concentrated operational stage, children aged 7 until 11 years old. At this age, children can use language to communicate with others as well as to get outside impression in the form of influence, cultural suggestion, and transmission from adults, and to express their inner life to others. 7 or 8 years old have acquired knowledge about letter, syllable, and words. The development of language at this age changes from to the content of the use. Children have reached the creative stage of language development, and the creative language can be heard in form of songs or the rhymes. The last stage is the formal operational stage, children aged 11 until 15 years old. Children reaching this stage of development are characterized by a mindset that has developed. Children begin to think logically and systematically to achieve problem solving, can also apply ways of thinking of concrete and abstract problems. At this stage, the child can inform ideas and think about the future realistically, and at this age, children can analyze new words using orthographic patterns and contextual inference, and have begun to read from decoding skill to understanding.
Criticism is a literary analysis or literary criticism that is focusing on the text itself. The reader doesn't need outside sources, such as author's biography or social background, to fully understand the text. In the other words, the readers paid their attention on a close reading of rhythm, meter, theme, imagery, and metaphor. New criticism insisted on the intrinsic value. Then the analysis comes solely from the words, characters, and actions in the text. In new criticism, there are 3 main principles. 1. The universal meaning. 2. The formal aspects of literature. And 3. Close reading. So we begin from the universal meaning. So in this principle, the readers have a role to not take part in creating meaning and only discover what is already there in the text. That is, the readers only take part in finding meaning. So just turn to remember there are intentional fallacy. So based on Encyclopedia Britannica, intentional fallacy describes the problem inherent in trying to judge a work of art by assuming the intent or purpose of the artist who creates it. So it means that it's impossible to determine the author's reason without directly asking him or her. Besides intentional fallacy, there are affective fallacy. So affective fallacy refers to the supposed error of evaluating a work based on its emotional effects on the readers. And then we move to the second one. The second principle, there are the formal aspects of literature. It means that literature isn't same as other texts like speech. Analyzing a poem is different from analyzing a speech text. So here, new criticism is focusing on technical tools like rhyme, scheme, or the definition. And the last principle is close reading. New criticism emphasizes close reading. It means that it's a way to engage with the text, and the readers paid close attention to the interactions between form and the meaning. New criticism has a purpose to finding the meaning. Might the meaning is on the literary work itself, or might the meaning is on the author thought, or the meaning is maybe on the reader who interprets the works. And new criticism emphasizes close reading, so the readers will read carefully to find the true meaning and only care about what the text says by painting every single word. So maybe we can call new criticism as a textual focus.
Children's literature. Children's literature can be broadly defined as the body of written works and accompanying illustrations produced in order to entertain or instruct young people. Examples of children's literature or juvenile literature are stories, books, magazines, and poems that are made for children. The development of early children's literature before printing was invented is difficult to trace. In the 15th century, literature has been aimed specifically at children, often with a moral or religious message. The late 19th and early 20th centuries is a golden age of children's literature. Children's literature can be divided into two categories. The first one is according to genre, and the second one is the intended age of the reader.
The development of children's literature before printing was invented is difficult to trace. Even after printing became widespread, there are many classic children's tales originally created for adults and then later adapted for a younger audience. Children's literature has been shaped by religious sources such as Puritan traditions or by more physical and scientific standpoints. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, known as the golden age of children's literature because there are many classic children's books were published at this time. Children's literature can be divided into categories by genre and by age category. Genre can be determined by technique, tone, content, or length. There are 6 categories of children's literature by genre: picture books, traditional literature such as myth, legends, fables, or fairy tales, fiction such as fantasy, realistic fiction, or historical fiction, non-fiction, biography or autobiography, poetry. The category of children's literature by age category are picture books, appropriate for children's ages 0 to 5, early reader books, appropriate for children's ages 5 to 7, chapter books, appropriate for children's ages 7 to 12, young adult fiction, appropriate for children's ages 12 to 18.
The Lion and the Mouse. One sunny day, a lion was resting after eating a wonderful meal. When, all of a sudden, a busy mouse that was running around accidentally bumped into him.
How dare you carelessly wake me up like that?
The lion got up and caught the mouse. He was just about to eat him, but the scared little mouse begged the lion for mercy.
Oh,
Great Lion, please spare me. I know that one day you will need my help. Squeak, squeak.
Exactly what can a little mouse like you do to help a big lion like me? Anyway, I'm already full, so I will let you go.
The lion laughed loudly and set the mouse down. A few days later, the lion got caught in a hunter's trap. He hung there helplessly.
Help! Help! Please! Somebody help me!
The lion was stuck in the net and couldn't move at all. Just then, the little mouse heard the lion's cries. So, he went to see what was going on.
Mr. Lion, hang tight. I will save you. Squeak, squeak.
The mouse started to gnaw on one piece of the net, and then another, until finally, the lion was free.
My little friend, thank you for saving me. I will never underestimate you or your size again.
The lion apologized to his new little friend.
Thank you so much, Mouse. You truly saved me.
You're welcome, my big friend.
So the first we give the story in the form of a text and in Indonesian language to the children, and then the children read them. And after that we give them a list of questions and we record the children's voice while they answer the question.
As the result, we found that the story has impacts for those kids. Saddam shows his imagination development by explaining the shape of the characters and also the setting of place. He also trained to be logical thinker because he understands what the character's reason is to take actions. Then, he knows what the problem solving is when we ask him about how the characters fix the problem, exactly when the lion trapped on the net. The another one, Aska, can illustrate the lion's physical appearance that has furs around its head and the big foot with the claw. He also explains briefly the moment when the mouse tries to escaping the lion. That is, it shows that Aska can retell his imaginations clearly. And then he delivered the characteristic and also the reason why the characters have its characteristic. So it evidenced that Aska also be reasonable or logic in delivering the character and the characteristics.
Based on the results of the research and discussion that we conduct, thus, we can conclude that the purpose of this study is to improve children's reading skills through fairy tales. The subject are children in the age range of 6 to 8 years old. Technique used when collecting data is an observation of given stimulation to children's language development in reading and later deriving the results of the stimulation. From the results of research that has been done, can be seen that this research has succeeded in improving children's language development and reading skill.